if we cut taxes, we'll grow the economy, and this economic growth will be good for our children and grandchildren. There's an article in the Belgian online news website, De Wereldmorgen.be, about who will pay back the coronavirus debts. It's an exploration into the current policies undertaken by the Belgian government in the wake of the corona crisis. And a large part of the article is about the denser matter of the central bank and monetary policy. It's in Dutch. You can check it out in the description box. The author of the article is making the point that the debts should not be borne by the next generation, future generations. We've heard that word quite a bit, future generations. Here's an example. Debts for future generations. What do you think of when I say the word generation? Future generations. Do you think of this? Or maybe this. Debts to future generations, our children and grandchildren. You hear this both in the context of the debts in the wake of the Great Recession, debts incurred through or because of environmental action, and now the coronavirus debts. This paradigm is often used to rationalize, to make an excuse for, especially the decades since the Great Recession, austerity. Conventional supply-side economics. Supply-side economics, a discipline in economics which focuses on the supply side of the supply and demand curve. Basically businesses and investors. As an example, looking at the Belgian government of 2014 through 2019, you can see that in their philosophy, incurring debts to invest in sustainable development, education, healthcare is irresponsible and saddles up future generations with debt. But incurring debts to fund tax cuts and for the well-off and big businesses is a noble decision.
By bringing down the tax burden, we will see a fall in tax fraud.
The population pyramid. This is a population pyramid. A graph showing the number of people per age. In the field of demographics, a generation is viewed as an age cohort of 25 years. When politicians and media figures talk about future generation, the implication isn't this, it's that. The way generation is used in popular speech is rather reminiscent of the idea of a family household where there are grandparents, parents, and children, right? With wealth and or debts passed downward through the generations. There is this thing called the Montevideo Convention. In this international treaty, it is described what makes a country. And what makes a country is 4 things. 1, a permanent population. 2, defined territorial boundaries. 3, a government. And 4, the ability to make treaties. The permanent population part is an important bit. The fact of the matter is, barring anything like, climate catastrophe, there will always be future generations. An unending string of brothers and sisters who benefited from the health, education, and general well-being of their forebears. Many millennials are only able to buy properties nowadays because their parents or grandparents enjoyed good, affordable education and housing. The cost of investment in societal well-being is paid back in spades. At any given moment, there are millions of people, much older, slightly younger, much younger, and differing levels of much younger, alive at the same time. Compare it to an endless series of younger and or older siblings. If I'm not mistaken, there's this cliche line from the movie Gladiator, which says, what we do in life echoes in eternity. And you know what? Maximus Decimus Meridius was fucking right. We're all connected to everyone living today, everyone in the past, and everyone in the future. What benefits us today comprehensively benefits those who come slightly afterwards, long afterwards, and long afterwards. Governments do things that have a bearing on all these all at the same time. Cheap education benefits the young. Good infrastructure benefits everyone. Comprehensive healthcare, primarily the middle-aged and the old. Market worship, number neurotics, and short-term thinking can make us really lose perspective of what matters. Not a good thing. We'll be saddling our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren with debts that they cannot afford.